Hello survivors, it's Priam here with another video, and today we'll be discussing combat development. So today we'll be talking about troop development, hero development, APC formations, attack strategies, tips, and tech research. So let's just start off with a troop comparison, because these are the troops that will be going into your APC. So the thing you have to understand is the differences between the units are pretty much consistent throughout the tiers. Fighters will always have a high defense and high HP, whereas shooters will have a high attack and low HP, and then vehicles are right in the middle and they're balanced. And then the ranges are 1 for the fighter, and 3 for the vehicle, and 3 for the shooter. The attack, defense, and HP stats are taken directly from the training facilities, so you can verify those things, but the range is taken from the actual battle. So I'm just going to show you, so you don't have to just believe me, and prepare yourselves, because you're going to have your minds blown right now. I'm willing to bet that at least 90% of players don't even know about this feature in this game. So normally, when you go to view an attack, I used a zombie for this example. When you go to view the attack report, this is what you see. You'll see win, you'll see the loot, the experience for your heroes, and then the results. How many you killed, what's wounded, how many survived, etc. There's only one round here, and then if you go to the next page, you'll see the individual breakdown of the battle details of what was wounded from each unit, what was killed, and then also the unit attributes, which shows the might and resistance of each unit. But what most people tend to miss is there's a little play button up here in the top right hand corner, and when you click this, it will show you the animation of the actual battle, and that's where everything comes from. That's where the APC formations come from, that's where the ranges come from, that's where people decide where to put the heroes based on their effective ranges, and so on and so forth. So let's just watch this. So the fighters hit the first row, then my vehicles will hit the second row, but the hero abilities activate first as well. I'll get into that later on in the video. This particular hero has 2 hero attack skills, then the vehicles will attack that, and they attack back, and shooters will also attack the first row. It's always attacking the first row first. Only the heroes can use their abilities to attack beyond the first row. And this just goes back and forth until there are no troops left on either side, and that determines the winner. So I'm just going to speed this up. And see, the beauty here is heroes using their attack skills takes place before the units attack. So you can reduce a lot of units prior to your troops attacking, thereby increasing the damage inflicted to the enemy. And that's it. So now you know. Every attack report that you have, you can go into the results and play this animation and watch the battle unfold. So for hero development, you can recruit heroes at the Heroes Hall. I've covered this previously as well. So every day at the game reset time, you get 1 free gold recruitment, 1 free purple recruitment, and 3 normal recruitments. The normal recruitments basically refill every 10 minutes after you redeem it, so you'll get 3 in 30 minutes, and then you have to wait till the next day. The daily quest will give you more tickets and tokens and fragments. So with the tickets, you can redeem to recruit more heroes, and then tokens you can use in the token shop to get fragments, which you can then put together to form a hero once you collect enough fragment pieces. Then you need to go to the military academy to exchange hero medals for wisdom medals, because you will need the wisdom medals to unlock and upgrade hero skills, and you will need as many as possible. So try to exchange as many as you can afford. The number of exchangeable medals is based on the level of this building. So as you upgrade this building, you can exchange more medals. So exchange amount, it goes up as you upgrade them. So in this game, there are orange heroes, purple heroes, blue heroes, and green heroes. Green heroes only have 2 skills, blue heroes have 4 skills, purple heroes have 6 skills, and orange heroes have 8 skills. The key thing to remember with hero skills is you can pick and choose. You don't have to unlock all of them at once. You don't have to unlock them in order. You can skip certain ones. You can unlock the ones that you want. So the priority skills that you should unlock and upgrade are the first skill and the 6th skill. The first skill increases your troop capacity, and then the 6th skill enhances the first skill, thereby increasing your troop capacity further. So these are your priority. Secondary skills to unlock and upgrade are the attack skills, because as I mentioned during the animation, those skills activate before the troops attack, so you deal more damage. And these are in the 2nd skill, 5th skill, and 8th skill. Lastly, you have might and resistance buffs. These are in the 3rd, 4th, and 7th skills. And these will be upgraded based on where the hero is located in your APC formation. As you saw in the animation earlier, I had fighters in the front, vehicles in the middle, and shooters in the back. So the fighters in the front are there to tank damage, so you want to buff resistance for those units. Then you have vehicles and shooters in the back, and you'll want to buff their might, which increases their attack effectively. But most importantly, the effective range dictates where you place the heroes. You try to match up the might and resistance, but effective range controls the attack skill, and that is the biggest advantage that you have in battle, is the attack skills. Because if they're not in effective range, they won't hit any units, and thereby rendering them useless. So they need to be placed in the appropriate spots. So the general rule of thumb for this is you place heroes in ascending order from the first slot, unless it needs a specific unit. So on the right hand side here, I have a chart for the various orange heroes and purple heroes, and whether or not they have a troop specialty, and the effective ranges of their 2nd, 5th, and 8th skills. This is all probably pretty confusing, so let's just take a look at my formation, and I'll show you the visual as well. So here's my APC formation. I have my fighters in the front, vehicles, and then shooters. I have the socialite in front, DUI in the middle, because his specialty is vehicles, and the necromancer in the back. So the socialite has an effective range of 3 on her first ability and 3 on her second ability. Counting from her slot, she can attack the first row, the second row, and the third row on the enemy. Then in the second slot, I have the DUI, who has an effective range of 3 and 2. So counting from his spot, which is the second slot, he can attack technically this one, but this is our units. So he can attack the first row and the second row with his first ability, and then the first row with his second ability. And then lastly, we have the necromancer, who has an effective range of 3 for her first skill and 4 for her second skill. So counting from her in the back, 1, 2, 3. So she can do this one, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. So she can attack the first 2 rows. So my socialite can attack all 3. My DUI can attack the first 2, and my necromancer can attack the first 2. So I can effectively attack all 3 of the enemy slots. So moving on to APC formations. As I mentioned earlier, APC formations are based on the troop stats. The fighter has defense and HP, shooter has damage, low HP, so has high damage, has to be in the back, has to be protected because of low HP. vehicles are balanced. So the balanced formation is when you have the fighter in front, vehicle in the middle, and shooter in the back. Some people are using fighter, shooter, vehicle. This is risky because if your fighters fall, then the next thing the enemy will attack will be your shooters. And since shooters can shoot from the back anyways, it's better to have your vehicles in the middle to protect the shooters in the back. That's why fighter, vehicle, shooter is better than fighter, shooter, vehicle. Given the high damage of shooters, an aggressive attacking formation would have fighters in the front, shooters in the middle, and shooters in the back. A defensive attacking formation would have fighters in the front, fighters in the middle, and shooters in the back. This is similar to the balanced approach, but slightly more defensive since you have fighters in the middle, so there's higher defense and HP in the second slot. The selection between this one and the balanced approach is dependent on what type of hero you have in the second slot. So for myself, I have DUI, which is his specialty is vehicles, so I would have vehicles in the middle. But if you have a generic hero that does any units, then fighters will do just fine in the middle as well. Then, as you'll recall from previous videos, at level 17 you unlock the war rooms, and these are for single unit formations. So you can have all fighters in the same APC, or you can have all vehicles, or you can have all shooters. When you have all the same units in the same APC, they get buffed from the war rooms. And when you have triple fighters, this is the strongest defense. When you have triple shooters, this is the strongest offense. And you have triple vehicles, this is best for farming. So attacking strategies. You have to break this down into scouting, formation choice, and contingency plans. So when you're scouting, as I mentioned previously in other videos, you'll want to upgrade your radar, because upgrading your radar gives you certain pieces of information about the enemy, their troops, heroes, reinforcements, all that stuff. And you must scout when you're attacking players, especially for high power players. But note, the base power is not related to the APC power. It can be skewed. So for me, right now, you can see my power level is 1.8 million. But when we're looking at my APC here, it only has a power level of 293,000. And then when you go into the actual profile page, you can see the breakdown. The total combat power is the 1.8 million. Troop power is 1.6 million. But that's total troops. It's not the amount of troops in the APC, because I have more troops than I can hold in my APC right now. I have 400,000 troops, but only a certain amount was in that first APC. So for your first attack, you'll want to send an attack formation to soften them up, and then subsequent attacks can be switched to all vehicles to improve speed and load for looting. I recommend you scout in between attacks as well to make sure that the player wasn't reinforced, so you don't get caught off guard and send your vehicles into an ambush. If you do happen to scout it, or you see reinforcements on the way, you can either recall or speed up your army. So this is something you have to research. So in the Institute, when you go to your APC research, either the class APCs or the other APCs, you'll go here and there is NOS for speed up and recall order to recall it back. You have to research these options before you're able to actually use them in battle. The March recall costs 50 diamonds. You can purchase this in the store. It's right here. Speed ups can also be purchased here as well for the March acceleration. One note when you're using March acceleration, it's slightly risky because you're playing a game of cat and mouse. You're able to speed up, the enemy is also able to speed up their reinforcements. So if you do it thinking that you'll beat them to the base, but then they could do it and do it more than you and they'll beat you to the base, so it's just cat and mouse. And at that point, if you're spending so many diamonds on March acceleration, you may as well just teleport right beside them, because advanced teleport's only 2,000. So that's basically 2 March accelerations. So it's better to just teleport right beside them and then just attack them straight on. Sometimes it's better to recall and regroup, and then you can rally again with alliance members into the target again. So just going back to the state map, this is what the rally button is for. So if the enemy is really strong and you can't take him on by yourself, then you need to rally with your alliance members, and multiple people can rally together to attack it, just like you would a Wendell. So for farming strategies, generally speaking, you're hitting players lower than you, or you would be hitting players at the same level as you if you've already attacked them previously from the previous attack strategies, and then now you're in the looting phase once you've weakened their defenses. It's optional to scout, but you should scout to see if they have resources for you to steal, otherwise you're just attacking them and stealing nothing. All you're doing is reducing their durability, which is effectively what we call zeroing. If you attack them repeatedly with nothing to steal, you're just reducing their durability. Once a player has their durability reduced to 0, their base will basically collapse, and then it will respawn somewhere randomly in the map with a shield. So there is no dying in this game. You just respawn somewhere else randomly with a shield. So for farming, you should use a balanced formation to soften them up, or you can go straight in with all vehicles if you know you can overpower them. You should also scout in between attacks to ensure you still have something left to steal. Similar to attacking strategies, if you see someone else going for the same person that you're about to farm, you can either recall if they're closer than you, or you can speed up if you're closer than them. But I wouldn't really waste resources there. It's almost always better to recall than to speed up for both farming and attacking strategies. Lastly, you can research load improvement to increase the amount of loot you can steal. I covered this previously as well in the economy development video. Basically, in your class APC or any of the APCs, you can research load improvement, and then if you're taking all vehicles, which increase the load by itself, you can also research load improvement here to further increase the load. So when you're setting your APC to attack a player or attack a zombie or to gather points, the APC has to move there, and this is determined by their march speed, and based on the units in the APC at the time, the march speed can be really slow or really fast, but you can improve the speed by researching cross-country wheels in the APC. That's this thing right here, cross-country wheels. If you have vehicles, which are normally fast anyways, you can further increase the speed by researching suspension system for vehicles to make them go even faster. And once you have these things maxed out, an APC with both cross-country and suspension and all vehicles will basically move across the field like cutting through butter. But note, if you have even one fighter or shooter in the APC, it will be slowed down significantly. So I'll just show this as an example. So let's just go out here somewhere. Let's just say attack this player. So if I click attack, if I send this APC, which right now has all vehicles, it will take 4 minutes and 25 seconds. If, however, I switch it to add just fighters, it could just be one, just for the sake of argument, you just have the one, right? Or 75 in this case. It's going to be 15 minutes to send that APC out. That's 3 times the time than if you had all vehicles. So all vehicles is the fastest way to get there, 4 minutes, 25 seconds. With fighters or anything, it's using the traditional balance formation. This will take you 15 minutes. Earlier, when we were looking at the attack report on that zombie, I mentioned the unit attributes of might and resistance here. These are negligible in the early and mid game. Later on, they do become important because that 1% difference of might or resistance could win it for you. That could be the determining factor of the battle. You can upgrade your might and resistance through buildings and tech research. So previously we talked about this. You can upgrade the trap house, the vehicle war rooms, garrison hall, the garrison itself, fighter war room, and shooter war room. In addition, there is tech associated to each unit type, and inside there you can look at the might and resistance. So for example, that's might, that's resistance, and just goes down. It just keeps going. That's siege damage might. Then you have regular might again, resistance, and so on. Most of the tech trees for the units all look the same. This is shooter might, shooter resistance, and it just goes down. Same for vehicles. This is vehicle might and vehicle resistance. In addition, you can also get attack and defense buffs from the store with diamonds or the alliance store as well. They're under buff. You can get the 12-hour attack bonus or 12-hour defense bonus, or the 24-hour versions as well. In the alliance store, they are down here, 12-hour attack bonus and defense bonus. It's probably cheaper to buy it from the alliance store though. And lastly, I want to touch on is the troop upkeep. So food, for example, the troop consumption is this number here, based on the number of fighters and shooters you have, because they eat food. Vehicles consume fuel, so that's for this here. One thing to note for troop upkeep, yes, it's going down, but there is some point that it will stop, and I found that to be around 500,000. The resource won't drop below that point. It will drop to just below that point, and then it'll go right back up, and then it'll hover around 500,000. And then you'll need to farm or resources or use crates to get back above that level. But you won't lose your army. Unlike population previously, where if you don't fill the ration truck, your population will go down slowly. That doesn't happen here with your army. Your army stays the same, and because the resources are protected to that, so that you don't reduce all the way down to 0. So that pretty much concludes this video. This is probably the most important video of the 4 videos so far. You'll probably have to watch and rewatch this one several times before you grasp the concept of effective ranges, how to place the heroes, what units to pick for your formation, and all that stuff. But I hope this video helps you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.